Thanks for tuning into De-Education. So this is a platform where I bring designers from different aspects to talk about their design journey and how their design education has shaped them into better designers. On this episode, we have a very special friend. Let's welcome Abhishek Nair. Hi, Abhishek. Welcome to De-Education.
Hi, Tejj. Thank you. Thanks for welcoming me.
So,
Glad to be here.
Abhishek, how's your day going?
It's been going fine. It started on a rough note with a fire drill, but it's going fine now.
That's wonderful. So, if you could give a brief about yourself to our audience out there.
Yeah, so my name is Abhishek. I'm based in the US currently. I work as a senior design strategist with a logistics company over here. And I came to the US for my master's to study at Parsons School of Design in New York. And before that, I completed my master's in product design from MIT Institute of Design, Pune, and I also have a bachelor's in electronics and telecom engineering. So it's been a academic heavy profile for me. Yeah.
That's totally great, Abhishek. So, what was your journey into design? How did you shift from engineering to again doing a master's at MIT and then now again doing another master's at Parsons? So, how was this whole journey? If you could just take us through this.
Yeah. So during my final years of engineering is when I discovered design. It was still emerging, right? It's way back in 2014, I guess. 2013 for 2014 was when I learned about design in India. And my first stint with design was when I learned about IDEO and all of the, human-centered design things. And then I attended a seminar, a workshop at IDC, the Institute of Design Center at IIT Mumbai. That's where I really learned, more about design, and I was really fascinated by it. So I think going into my bachelor's degree, that's what I expected engineering to be. That you build things that people want and people like, and makes their everyday lives easy. Then I learned design is more human centered. It's more closer to the person that I'm designing for, and that's the space that I figure that I want to be in. And like any other product designer, like the fascination started with physical products. Then you learned it's not just about objects; it's about the whole experience. And during my time at at MIT, it's when I figured that I discovered it's design is more than the physical products, and there's a whole ecosystem of people and stakeholders involved in making experiences possible. That's where I learned about service design and design strategy as a whole, and that inspired me to pursue it further. So it was a you know uh, one journey leading to the other. So it wasn't pre-planned or anything. It's just organically happened.
That's wonderful, Abhishek. So let's discuss about the strategic design management and how's
Mhm.
Parsons doing it and what are the various things that you did while applying for Parsons and all. So as you are already done with your graduate program at Parsons, so how was your experience with old strategic design program? Like coming from a product design background to going into strategic or the business side of design. So how was that experience?
Yeah, it was certainly an interesting experience in the sense that we had a module during my product design course in MIT regarding, uh, briefly touching upon the business of design, right? They introduced me to the business model canvas and all of those things. That really sparked my curiosity into it. And that's when I really got researching more about, how can design and business combine together, or what's the amalgamation of that. And then my research led me to like service design, all of those things. And that's where I got to know about courses. I was actually interested in a course in NID that was actually called Strategic Design and Management, and I had applied for those, and I didn't get through. I went in for the interviews, but I couldn't crack the final rounds. And then I figured, I didn't want to take a break after my masters. I just straight away wanted to learn more about it. I didn't want to wait to gain more professional experience. So I figured I'll look for other courses outside of India which offer the similar kind of an experience. So That's how I learned about the course in Parsons, and I applied for like few different courses which were design strategy related, and I ended up taking this one at Parsons, which fit more in with my vision of what I wanted to learn and experiment with. The best part about the course at Parsons, it's called Strategic Design and Management, but it really takes you and gives you a taste of a lot of different topics within the course. So if you're a person who would like to experiment with a lot of different schools of thought, a lot of different ideologies, and a lot of different topics, then it's a perfect course for you. But it really builds your, it evolves your thinking process, and then once they do that, it's up to you to then pick your niche and then follow it through. So during the course itself, you figure out, oh, I'm a kind of a person, I think I like research more than business. Then you build yourself accordingly. But then someone else feels, I'm more of a analytical person, I like the business end of design but not too much of the research end. Then you go towards that. So the program gives you a taste of the entire spectrum, and then it's up to you on to what do you want to take forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It's really insightful, and also I wanted to understand how was your transformation going to overseas as an Indian student, and what all things that you did that you could guide us.
Yeah. It's not an it is easy enough because there are enough resources on the internet, but it really depends upon how organized you are and how easy it is. Really depends upon how organized you are. So there are kind of important milestones within the process. You need to figure out your visa, you need to shortlist the kind of courses you want, need to apply for that, and for the application process you need to have some amount of fees that you want to buy the application with, and then also have your portfolio ready. So now looking back at the process, I think I should have been more organized with it, and I do take out time and help out students who are trying to apply for the course onto how better they can be prepared on that. Uh, but but yeah, I mean, right now there are a lot of resources on the internet that could help you out with the entire process, but it has got few milestones related to that. You need to really figure out what you want to learn. There are a lot of courses out there. Not every course is for you. And you might apply for a few, you might not get through all of them. So you need to prioritize, what do you want? What does the course offer? And your priorities, right? So some of the students just want to have that experience and go back to India and start their own businesses. So that looks different for someone who wants to stay in the US and pursue their career in the US. So a lot of decisions have to be made. You need to prioritize which courses you want to do, what you're looking for. And then comes the logistical part of it, applying for the visa interviews, preparing for them. You may have to go through like GRE or GMAT. I did give GRE, even though it wasn't required, but it was required for some of the other courses that I was applying for. So preparing for that, giving the exams, and it's a whole deal. So it takes up a lot of time and resource. So you have to be mentally be prepared for it. Yeah.
And also great point you mentioned, Abhishek. So it's almost like every for a fall application, the applications get opened like almost 6 months, 7 months before itself. So
Yeah.
that whole period is just for preparing your portfolio, preparing up your essays
Yeah.
and everything, and get yourself mentally also prepared that if something gets selected, then you have to leave everything and go study at the new place, experience new country and all. So that's a great
Yeah.
point you mentioned over there. So let's talk about inside campus life. So if you could share some insights on how the inside campus life in Parson, and how much was your duration of the course, and how was the mentors, and a high level of everything.
Yeah, certainly. So the major highlight of the course is the city itself, like New York City. The access it gives you to places and people, and everything about it, about the city, is a reflection of what the course is about, right? So in that sense, it's a huge resource that the school offers you. The school is right within the heart of the city, 14th Street. It's where everything happens. So, and you have access to a whole lot of startups and the tech scene which is in New York. It's as big as the West Coast now. It wasn't some time back, but it's now, as good as that. So you have a lot of networking opportunities. It's not just the school that the people of the school that you hang out with. It's also professionals outside from the school, from the tech scene that you can hang out with. You get to learn new things mingling with people in the city and even people from different courses, right? So Parsons is one college within the new school university. The university has a social sciences wing. It has arts and humanities, so there are a lot of these different courses and people hang out in the same campus. So, and they have events going on all through the calendar year. There are continuous events every day. So you look forward to, you just hang in there, and if you attend a course, you're just hanging out and you attend a event happening. You learn new things and you meet new people. So that is invaluable. I can say, yeah, I can guarantee that that's an experience that you need to have, and it just opens new avenues for thinking. So you attend a talk wherein people are talking about the data privacy and how designers play a role in that. That now opens up a whole new door for you to think about and a whole new avenue for you to explore that you never might have known about previously. That's one part of it. The second part of it is again the professors. So professors and the students and professors both play an important role in how your course experience goes, right? You don't just learn from the professor, and professors are more of facilitators in the West, I would say, especially in Parsons. They're there to facilitate a conversation uh, about with you and your colleagues that are your classmates, and they don't. It's the whole point of the discussion is to challenge each other's views and build upon each other's views. So that's a really interesting experience that you have. I find it really different from our Eastern way of learning and teaching. This is more collaborative. It's all, we are sitting across a round table and having a discussion. It's not, one versus many like it happens in the East, that there's one professor and you're supposed to listen to him. This is more of a discussion, more of a collaboration. So it's I find it really interesting that I got to taste both of it. So that really builds a unique point of view for students who come from India and get their masters over here.
And also, wanted to know how was the international community over there, like with the other Indians, and how was college supporting it?
Yeah, so there are a lot of community events that happen. There are a lot of clubs. So there are Indian clubs and there are Asian and there are immigrant clubs happening, and they do take care. They understand that the cultural difference that students when they come over here they face. So they do have your student advisors, and they have their own community. They facilitate this conversation. They make sure that you're not homesick, and they explain what's going on when you're in that. There's a disruption happening in your life, right? You're still coming to terms with it. So they have seen this. They Every batch of students, they've been handling this. So there are dedicated teams and dedicated people working for that. And the diversity of New York City itself, you'll forget that you have come to a different place. So for me, I was in Mumbai, so I'm used to that diverseness, all people of all walks of life, all languages, coming together, staying together. So I've been used to that, but it might be different for someone coming from a different background. So for me, New York City was just a home away from home, and I was as comfortable as I was in India over here. And all of these things, the resources, it's not just the school that provides you. You have all sorts of events and stuff happening outside of the school too. So there are other student communities which are like inter-school communities and stuff that you can be. So if an event is happening in NYU, you can certainly go there. And if they're most of the times it happens that these schools have people from all over the other schools attending them. So it's always a intermingling of stuff happening.
That's really wonderful, Abhishek. So, were you there at the campus hostel facility, or were you there on your own? And how was the economics in terms of staying and moving out to the new place? If you could give a just gist of it.
Yeah, so the school does have a campus housing facility, but it tends to be generally more expensive. So I figured out my own. places to stay, and I stayed like 20 minutes away from the campus, and that's a good enough amount of distance that you have to travel to find affordable places. But the city in itself is kind of expensive, so you have to figure out what are the less expensive places that you can afford. It's all about your budget. It's nothing more than that. If you have money, you can stay in Manhattan and have that rich lifestyle that it has to offer you. But if you have a meager budget, then you find places. I mean, there's a piece of pie for everyone in New York City, so you don't have to worry about uh, you have a different kind of an experience, but everything is accessible using the subway. So it's just about the time that you spend traveling, nothing else. So I would say it's all about the budget. You have to figure out, how do you want to spend your money. So based on that, you can figure out. And the next thing that you want to make sure is how much time you're spending in traveling, and would you want to be traveling so much back and forth. And the third thing is it a safe neighborhood or not? Not all places in New York are safe. There are certain places which are more safe and certain places which are less, and you need to make that discussion.
Thank you, Abhishek. So let's talk about the internship opportunities or inside campus jobs back in first years and second year. So how was your
Yeah.
experience with that?
Yeah, I had a fantastic experience. I did my internship with the internship that we had to do as part of a course. It's not really required. I mean, I did my summer internships. So I did my summer internship with a product as a product manager intern with a martech company. So it was a software developed for marketing technology companies, and the company was called Percolate. Later got acquired by Seismic. So I worked there as a product manager intern, and my experience was really fantastic. I got to really learn the agile product development whole life cycle of a product over there, and how research happens. How do you build out the features, and how does software development happen? So I had a brief idea of that from before, but then I got to really see the inner workings of a startup. So it was a really interesting experience. And again, it was in New York City, so again, you start building a professional network from that place, right? So I'm still in touch with a few people from there. So it's always, you can fall back on those people to run through ideas, or even if you're looking for better opportunities, you always have that network to fall back on. So the campus doesn't exclusively provide you with an internship, but it gives you a network to tap into. So we have a campus portal wherein opportunities for internships are mentioned, and you're free to apply. And there are campus drives that happen. Companies come in and they talk about uh, the positions that they have available, that could be full-time or part-time or internships, and you're free to apply to them and see where it goes. So there are student advisors who could advise you more on that, but the campus is pretty much a place where they show you the opportunity. They don't handhold you to get an opportunity. Yeah.
Wonderful, Abhishek. So let's talk about the economics in terms of fee and how much scholarship you got, or usually how people could get scholarships and get a financial aid from the college to help their learnings.
Yeah. Yeah, so the scholarship is really based on your profile. I did get a dean scholarship for, I guess, for 10K, and the fee when I was uh, during my course, I guess it was around, the total expenses would came around like 70 $1,000, that including your 2 years of expenses. So that's a huge amount. But again, it's New York City, so anything that you buy over there is not going to cost you anything less than $10. Like for a good coffee in a good cafe would cost you around $8. So that's what we're talking about. So it's certainly expensive, but it's also upon how you manage your budget. Like I said before, everything's expensive. It's New York City, so how do you manage your budget is basically what dictates how much do you save up on your expenses part of it. But the tuition fee, I think it was around 55K, and it was well worth the money. I would say the course was expensive, but it's, again, you have such kind of a network and such kind of professors that it makes up for the cost that you're paying. Yeah. And for in terms of the scholarship, It really depends upon your profile. I've heard of students who have gotten 100% scholarship, and they had that kind of profile. The course looks to have that diversity, and look at really closely the kind of profiles that they are admitting. So based on your profile, your unique profile, and your unique experience, you could get a scholarship or not. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So the budget you mentioned, Abhishek, which year was it for?
This was for 2015, 2017, and the fees do get revised. So
Yeah.
you would have to look at the website for the latest course structure and course fees. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot must have been changed after that. Yeah. So
Yeah, and certainly now with COVID and everything, I don't know how that. We did have online courses for that. There are two modes of the for the course. One was online, one was in person. So the online courses do have one module or one semester wherein you have to come in for an intensive. That's like a 3 or 4 week, like 1 month of time when students come in and spend time in the campus and then go back and to the online modules. So I think it also depends. That might be a criteria again in what your course costs you. Yeah.
that's wonderful, Abhishek. So the scholarship that you mentioned, it's given right at the time of your admission. So once you got join
Yeah.
inside, there isn't any scholarship sort of thing.
I mean, scholarships are pretty much what. So scholarships are different kinds, right? There might be another organization sponsoring a scholarship. So you have to apply for those scholarships and get those. Like what I was talking about is Dean scholarship. So if you think you are eligible for a scholarship and you would want one, you can make a request for it and you will be considered for that accordingly. But a Dean scholarship is pretty much what they offer you during the time when they give you an offer letter for the admit letter, right? So apart from that, there are a lot of these organizations that do uh, give out scholarships, and you have to apply for them independently.
That's wonderful, Abhishek. So let's discuss about your post-campus life. How was it?
Yeah.
If you could just take us through a few interesting stories of yours after the post-campus life.
Yeah, so after campus, you have a fantastic network that you built from your course. So we do help each other out. I'm still in touch with a lot of my colleagues and classmates, and um, we you also come to know about new opportunities from them, and you also inform them about the opportunities that you know. So it's certainly a good network that you can fall back onto, and you still have that brain trust, right? If you have some idea for a new project, or if you have a new thing that you want to run someone through, there is certainly that brain trust available. So that's the best part about my network that I've built, that I can still call them up, and we have these discussions every now and then. Even on weekends, I call some of them up and we have this conversation. That is what I think is the biggest takeaways from for me personally, from my experience, is that network that I've built. And you have people with a similar way of thinking, but they have the diversity of thought that they challenge you and they help you think better. So I think the point of any education should be to develop your way of thinking, and also meeting people who would help you do that. So I think that's certainly the best part about the course and the people that I met here. And after the course, that I'm still able to do that, that's the best part, I feel.
That's really wonderful, Abhishek. So let's conclude this by you sharing your insights on how you were before it during the engineering, and how after doing two masters in design, how did design education has shaped your life.
Yeah, and yeah, I sometimes I do reflect on it, and it only comes up when someone asks you, right? So I think my analytical and technical curiosity got me into engineering, and later the more nuanced side of me, which wanted to know about how humans interact, and that side of me got me more into design, and the artistic side again is also involved in product design. But it definitely, when I look back at it, it has transformed me as a person. Everything that I used to believe in, I questioned. And then you understand that there are biases inside you that stop you from thinking in a certain way. So I think that transformation itself is worth spending on education. So I whenever possible, it need not necessarily be a formal education, right? A formal education is nothing but someone certifying you that you have completed these courses and gained the minimum grades in all of these, so that, and then you graduate, right? But your learning doesn't stop over there. So education is good, but learning is more important, I would say. And my uh, whatever my academic experience has taught me is to transform your thinking in ways that you can never think about. So it's the people, it's what you learn, it's all the content that you consume. It should shape you as a better person than you were before. So I think my educational experience has certainly taught me that, and I'm a better person and a better thinking person. I think that's well worth it.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for all these wonderful insights and sharing your beautiful journey with us. We are looking forward to host you again very soon.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad that I got an opportunity to share my experience. And thank you so much.